I'm conflicted. I don't want to break this man's heart. I am 24, F. I was browsing through Bumble towards the end of September. I saw this one man, 27, M. I thought he was extremely attractive and promising. So I ended up swiping right and we actually matched. I was reluctant to talk to him and start a conversation at first, but then I sucked it up because the chat was going to expire, so I thought I should take the chance now that we matched. I started to talk to him after a couple of days, and then we exchanged Instagrams and started talking on there. At first, when we started taking on Bumble, he seemed really sweet. He asked me questions and genuinely seemed interested in me as a person. He also seemed really patient and understanding. Then a few days in, he started to get a little bit more demanding. He would get offended if I would take an entire day, or even a few hours, to get back to him, and he'd threaten to not talk to me again and, quote, put an end to the conversation. He would justify his anger by telling me that he really likes me. He wants a long-term relationship with me. He wants me to be reliable, and I'm special compared to other women, which is why it makes him angry when I act distant. He'd tell me, try to reply to my messages early no matter what, anytime I was completely free. But I continued to stay. I tried to justify and validate him, because I developed a fondness for him too. We ended up flirting a lot. We sent each other NSFW pictures, as well as selfies. He called me his baby. He called me his love. He called me his woman. He constantly told me how he wants me and only me. He always talked about the future with me. He would always tell me how beautiful our love story would be, how he would be committed to only me and committed to making me happy. He always talked about marrying me and having kids. I even once asked him why he feels so strongly towards me so fast. He said he trusts himself, that he doesn't accept everyone into his life, and he doesn't show interest in just any woman. He said he'd never hurt me, that he could never be angry with me. He said he only wants to give me happiness, and if he gets angry, it's because he loves me so much. He wants me to be his woman. Therefore, he doesn't like it when I act like I don't care. Throughout these last 2-3 weeks, he would constantly ask for us to meet up. I had to turn him down each time because I was always busy, but mostly because I knew my parents wouldn't like it. I wanted to wait until the right time to confess to my parents and gain their approval, as well as wait until I wasn't so busy with school. There were times when he was understanding, even reluctantly, but there were also times when he would get upset and he'd accuse me of not wanting him. He'd accuse me of avoiding him because I don't care about him. I would constantly reassure him that it wasn't like that. I don't know when we can meet in the future. He has to understand that my circumstances aren't ideal for me either. Wednesday night, he gave me an ultimatum. He proposed another meetup and told me that if we don't meet up this time, he'll never talk to me again. I told him I couldn't. Now I haven't heard from him since Wednesday night. I sent him a long paragraph Saturday detailing how I never wanted to hurt him and how I confessed having met to my parents. He only responded with okay. I feel guilty. I feel like I've severely hurt this person. I feel like a shitty human being for letting someone get attached to me, even though I wasn't in a position to use a dating app in the first place and make a full commitment to him because I assumed my parents wouldn't be accepting of our relationship. I'm trying to look at the situation from this man's eyes. He went on Bumble for the sole purpose of finding a relationship. He found someone he likes, and now the person keeps dodging him. I could see why he'd shun me now, and it's all my fault. I made him give up. I can't help but feel extremely guilty and regretful. I ugly cried and sobbed too many times since Wednesday. I recently sent him a long paragraph telling him how I never meant to hurt him, how my inability to meet him wasn't because I was purposefully avoiding him. It wasn't because I didn't want him. I also told him how I confessed to my parents. He responded to the paragraph with, okay, but now I don't know what to do. I feel conflicted. Should I continue with us? Should I meet with him now that my parents know? Everyone keeps saying he's a red flag and to cut him off. But what if he means all of the affectionate and loving things he's told me? I don't want to break his heart by leaving him. Edit. He's from a different country. He's only been living in the U.S. for a couple of years. I honestly can't help but feel that he did truly love me in his own way based on cultural differences. Maybe people from his country tend to fall in love fast? But what are your thoughts? TLDR. I matched with a man on Bumble who initially seemed sweet, but his ultimatums about meeting led to conflict. Despite developing fondness for him, he kept making accusations of me not caring about him. After turning down his last proposal to meet, he stopped talking to me frequently and has only responded when I sent him my last paragraph. While I'm torn about potentially breaking his heart, friends and parents advise that his behavior is a red flag. I wonder if cultural differences play a role in his intense feelings. Maybe to him, it's not a red flag. I'm conflicted about whether to pursue the relationship or to let it go. He even once told me to not hurt his heart, to not run away from him, and to come closer to him. I miss him. It's true that he was demanding and critical about a couple of things, like not taking hours to respond or constantly dodging him. But I feel like that was my fault. He was always so sweet and loving otherwise.